All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about an absolute legend of the game. A player with just unbelievable skill, incredible vision, and a guy known by a lot of different names. But in his home country, well, they considered him royalty.
Okay, so right off the bat, you see this nickname, and I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Being compared to Diego Maradona, that's already insane, right? He's one of the greatest ever. But to be called the Maradona of an entire mountain range? Wow, that tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the kind of talent we're dealing with here.
And look, let's be clear, this wasn't some nickname that only local fans used. No, this was a reputation Gheorghe Hagi earned on the biggest stages in the world. It was a testament to his just unbelievable technical skill, his crazy dribbling, and of course that legendary ability to score absolute jaw-droppers from way out.
So you see this number here, 125? What's that all about? Well, get this. Back in 2004, the legend himself, Pelé, was asked by FIFA to make a list of the greatest living footballers. He picked 125 players, and you guessed it, right? There on that list, among the absolute best to ever lace up a pair of boots, was Gheorghe Hagi. So the world had these grand comparisons, right? But back home in Romania, it was much simpler, much more direct. They just called him Regile, which means, quite simply, the king. He wasn't like a legend, you know? He just was. And that name, the king, it just says everything about the pride and the love that an entire country has for him.
But of course, every king has to come from somewhere. So to really get the full picture, we've got to rewind and go all the way back to the beginning.
So here are the basics. Hagi was born on February 5th, 1965, in a small village, Sicele. And that's a key part of the story, right? This journey didn't start in some huge, famous European city. It started in a quiet part of Romania. And that just makes his climb to the top of the football world even more incredible.
And here's another really interesting layer to his story. Hagi's heritage is Romanian. That's a minority ethnic group in the Balkans. Think about that. The guy who would become the ultimate symbol of Romanian national pride actually came from a minority background. It's just such a powerful example of how sports can bring everyone together. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. The part of the story that made him a global superstar. His career, I mean, it wasn't just good, it was basically a non-stop highlight reel. We're talking unbelievable moments, things few players ever achieve, and just pure dominance when it mattered most. I mean, just look at this slide. Real Madrid, FC Barcelona. You can't get any bigger than that in club football, right? They're the fiercest of rivals, and let me tell you, the list of players who've worn both of those jerseys is tiny. The fact that Hagi played for both, well, that tells you everything you need to know about just how elite he was. He was on that level. Simple as that.
And his international career? Wow. It was just a masterclass in staying at the top for a long time. I mean, check out this timeline. 3 World Cups, 3 European Championships. That's a career that spans 16 years, from his first big tournament in '84 all the way to 2000. He wasn't just on the Romanian team. For almost 2 decades, he was the Romanian team to the rest of the world.
And the absolute peak of that whole run had to be the 1994 World Cup. Hagi was just a magician, pulling the strings for Romania during their amazing run in that tournament. His performances were so good, he was named to the official all-star team. So, you see, he didn't just show up to these big tournaments, he completely took them over.
But back home, his dominance was on another level entirely. See this number? 7. That's how many times he was named Romanian Footballer of the Year. 7 times. That's a record, and it pretty much ends any debate. He is, without a doubt, the greatest player his country has ever seen.
And here's a little story that just perfectly sums up who he was and how much he loved the game. Apparently, when he was a young player, he was in such high demand that he once played 2 professional matches for 2 different clubs in the same weekend. I mean, can you believe that? The guy just lived and breathed football.
So, what happens when a legend like that finally hangs up his boots? For Hagi, retiring from playing wasn't an end. It was the start of a whole new chapter. And this chapter was all about giving back and making sure the future of football in Romania was bright.
Yeah, he didn't just, go enjoy a quiet life on the beach. Not Hagi. He took all that passion, all that knowledge, and he poured it right back into his country. He started his own football academy, building a place for the next generation to learn and grow. His goal changed, It wasn't about scoring anymore. It was about finding the next kings of Romanian football.
So, when you put it all together, what do you see?
It's more than just a great player, isn't it? It's someone who carried an entire nation on his shoulders, who reached the very top of the club game, and then he dedicated himself to building the future. Which kind of leaves you with this one big question. What is the true legacy of a king? Is it the glory he wins for himself, or is it the kingdom he builds for others?